Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. Today I'm bringing a different type of video as I'm going to be showing you our Christmas special meal. You'll notice that our meal is not traditional at all, instead we've added an Asian twist to it. If you do not follow my Instagram, please do check it out and follow me for more of my content. So let's get started by preparing our roast chicken. For this recipe, you'll be needing 3/4 of a teaspoon of crushed chili, 2 tablespoons of Tandoori Masala, 1 teaspoon of salt, 3/4 of a teaspoon of red chili powder, 1.5 teaspoons of ginger and garlic paste, a fresh lemon that you juice. I'm just using a small one today. We'll also need 2 tablespoons of yogurt and around 8 to 10 pieces of chicken. Into a large bowl, I'm going to add in the ginger and garlic paste, the yogurt, the masala, aka the seasonings, and the lemon juice. Now let's give this a good stir just to ensure that all the flavors are incorporated and enhanced by mixing them into each other. Once the marinade is sufficiently mixed, we can add in around 1 to 2 tablespoons of oil. As you can see, I've actually scored the chicken by just adding in some indents with a knife. This is just to ensure that the chicken does cook throughout and so that the spices can also go inside. Now we can add in all of our scored chicken into the marinade, and I'm going to let this marinate overnight. It's the next day now, my chicken has marinated overnight and I've just prepared a tray by adding in some baking paper. So let's start cooking these. With the leftover marinade, you can either cover the chicken or you can actually add in some potatoes and we can have some roast potatoes later on. But you do need to marinate them for half an hour at least. Before popping this into the oven, I'm actually going to cover it with some aluminium foil. This is just to prevent the tops from burning. We are going to allow the chicken to roast away for around an hour, but we do need to constantly keep an eye on it to ensure that it is actually cooking rather than burning. With the marinade, I'm just going to top it off with some more seasonings. This is completely optional, and then I'm going to marinate some potatoes. But trust me, you have to do this. These will be the best roast potatoes you've ever had. I've cut some potatoes into fairly decent sized wedges, and I'm going to cover this with the marinade and let it sit for around half an hour. Half an hour has passed and our chicken is halfway through the cooking process. We actually can take this out the pan now. Be careful, it is piping hot and you do not want to burn yourself. We can just change the sides, and at this point we are also ready to add in the potatoes. Again, I'm going to cover this with the foil and allow this to cook away until the chicken and the potatoes are fully cooked. A further half an hour has now passed and I'm going to pop this back into the oven now, but this time without the foil. Removing the foil will allow our chicken and our potatoes to become a perfect golden colour, and they will also become crispy. Now that our roast is almost complete, let's move on to our Matar Pilau, which is essentially just a vegetarian rice dish. To make Matar Pilau, you need 1 onion, 1 tomato, 1.5 tablespoons of ginger and garlic paste, 350 grams of rice, 2 green chilies, 1 teaspoon of salt, a half a teaspoon of black pepper powder, whole black peppers around 15 to 20, 2/3 teaspoon of cumin seeds, 2 or 3 cloves, a small cinnamon stick, and some fresh or frozen peas. Just to start off, I've sliced some onions and I'm going to caramelize these. Allow them to fry away on medium-high heat for a couple minutes until they become properly golden. Now that they are sufficiently golden, I'm going to add in the ginger and garlic paste, and I'm also going to allow this to cook for a couple minutes. Now I'm going to add in some tomatoes and some green chilies which I chopped earlier, and I'm going to allow these to cook. Whilst the tomatoes and green chilies are cooking, I'm also adding in all of the seasonings just to ensure that everything absorbs the flavour. We can now add in the green peas. I'm actually adding in frozen peas, so I only need to cook them for a minute or two, but if you're using fresh peas, you need to cook them until they are properly cooked. The whole kitchen is smelling absolutely delicious. You guys have to give this recipe a go and let me know how you find it. The next step is to add in some water. Now the measurement for the water is for each 1 cup of rice, you add in 1.5 cups of water. Once the water has come to a boil, we can add in our rice and we can allow it to cook. I'm going to cook the rice until the water is almost completely evaporated. I'm actually going to cook it with the lid off. The rice is cooking away absolutely beautifully and I cannot wait to try it. The water has almost completely evaporated, so now we can turn the heat down to low and we're going to allow this to simmer away for around 10 minutes. When simmering this, you actually need to cover it. I'm using tissue today, but some people also use foil, so it's definitely up to you what you do. These are now cooked and they are looking absolutely scrumptious. I cannot wait to tuck into these later on. For our final recipe in this Christmas special video, I'm going to show you how to make my favourite mashed potatoes. The mashed potatoes go really well with the roast chicken, so I highly recommend these. There aren't that many ingredients when it comes to making mashed potatoes. All you need are 2 potatoes, some salt and pepper to taste, double cream. Now this really depends on how thick you want the potatoes to be. If you want them to be really thick, you add in a lot. If you don't want them to be so thick, you can add in less. We'll also need 1.5 tablespoons of butter and some milk, which is optional, but I will add in a couple tablespoons. I've cut the potatoes into small pieces and I've actually given them a good wash, so now let's go ahead and boil these. Into this I'm going to add in half a teaspoon of salt and then we're going to allow these to boil until the potatoes are fully cooked. My potatoes have boiled, I've drained them and now I'm going to mash them. Once mashed, let's add in around 1.5 tablespoons of butter and give this a good whisk. I've also added in some milk and now I'm going to add in around half a teaspoon of black pepper. Obviously you can add in more or less depending on your personal preferences. At this point I'm adding in 150 milliliters of double cream and I'm going to give this a good whisk. As you can see, the mashed potatoes are quite thick and this is perfect because it means that when it sets it will get thicker and creamier and it will be delicious. These are now ready to serve, so let's go ahead and set the table. Of course, gravy is a must when you have roast, so here I am just pouring some gravy. Here we are guys, our meal is now ready and honestly it is smelling absolutely divine. I cannot wait any longer, so I'm going to go ahead and tuck in. I really hope that you guys do try this recipe and let me know how you found it. Please also let me know what you guys are doing to celebrate Christmas or what you guys do to celebrate your own festivals. See you next time. Bye!